A group of American evangelicals travelled to a faraway land, a place where homosexuality is already a crime, to speak out against it. Since that seminar, anti-gay fervour has continued to ferment. Now, if a controversial bill passes, your homosexuality may cost you your life. As Dan Harris reports for our series, Faith Matters.
The gay movement is an evil institution. The goal of the gay movement is to defeat the marriage-based society.
This is the American evangelical Scott Lively speaking at an event called the Seminar on Exposing the Homosexual Agenda, half a world away in the African country of Uganda.
No, we say no to homosexuals. We don't allow homosexuals.
We went to Uganda to investigate what has happened in the aftermath of that conference. This
Homosexuality is prohibited here in Uganda. We don't want it.
An extraordinary wave of homophobia,
We said no.
which even includes a bill that would put some gays and lesbians to death. The bill is supported by one of the country's most popular pastors, Martin Sempa, who helped host that conference with the American evangelicals.
Africans unite against sodomy. Hello.
And is a one-time friend of the American megachurch pastor Rick Warren.
I'm going to give evidence on what homosexuals do.
We found Sempa whipping up support for the bill by showing his followers extraordinarily graphic gay pornography.
This is them. In Africa, sodomy is an abomination, a taboo, and an evil.
Does all of this fit in your mind with the spirit of Christianity, which is to help the oppressed?
Very much, very, very much. We need to know what are they doing in their bedroom. And you cannot make comments out of ignorance. The problem is the absence of shock. You know, you look at the same thing, Dan, you're not shocked.
You could play porn between men and women and shock people too, but it's not done very frequently.
Sure. Anal activity, anything having to do with eating of poop. Heterosexuals do not eat poop. It's the same way. If you have sex with a dog, sex with a cow, that's evil. They start off by touching each other's genitals and smelling each other.
Critics say this extreme anti-gay fervor is in part the result of a concerted campaign by American Christians to export our culture wars to Africa, a campaign that reached a crescendo at that conference we told you about.
Even though probably the majority of homosexuals are not oriented toward young people, there's a significant number that are. And that when they see a child that's from a broken home, it's like they have a flashing neon sign over their head.
The star attractions at the event, 3 American Christians, including Scott Lively.
I'm not going to sit back and let them attempt to overthrow Christian civilization. That's really what it comes down to.
Lively is the author of a book called The Pink Swastika, in which he argues that Nazism was actually a gay movement.
A large number of Hitler's inner circle were homosexual, and Hitler himself was homosexual.
The vast majority of Holocaust scholars would violently disagree with you.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think that
that the Nazi movement was largely a homosexual movement?
Well, the book, it's 400 pages of documentation.
At home, these views may be marginalized or even mocked, but the hundreds of Ugandan teachers, cops, and politicians at the conference took them quite seriously. Months later, a bill was introduced called the Anti-Homosexuality Bill of 2009, which calls for death by hanging for gay and lesbian serial offenders, and also prison time for anyone, including parents, who fail to hand over someone they know is gay or lesbian to the police. This bill says if you get married while gay or lesbian to another gay or lesbian, you're going to prison for the rest of your life. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that in my country. In my country.
You think that's a fair punishment? The life in prison to get married?
Sir, I think that what we do not understand here is, in Africa, sodomy is an abomination. It's an abomination to our culture, to our God, and when you do bring sodomy, you practice sodomy, you bring a curse on the nation.
There's a common theory that the people who have the biggest problems with gays and lesbians have themselves struggled with homosexual urges.
No.
Have you ever?
No. That means everybody who fights terrorism is themselves a terrorist.
Are you comparing homosexuality to terrorism?
It is sexual terrorism.
Do you ever worry that you're whipping up hatred in a way that could end up being violent?
I don't worry about whipping up hatred. Actually, what I worry is that people like you who seem to hear what I'm saying, but they don't seem to understand. I worry that networks of televisions are controlled by homosexuals.
No to sodomy!
Even though backers of the bill now insist they only want to execute homosexual pedophiles, governments all over the world are up in arms. President Obama denounced the bill as odious. And the American evangelicals who spoke at that event in Uganda are now rushing to distance themselves from the bill. They claim they had no idea it was coming and deny any responsibility for it. You said before that you had no idea that your time in Uganda would be followed by such a draconian, tough law. But you did say on your website, I believe, either you said or you quoted somebody saying
nuclear bomb.
Yes, that it was like a nuclear bomb.
Well, and it was, and I'm proud of that, and I hope the nuclear bomb spreads across the whole world against the gay movement, against this attempt to overthrow family-based society and replace it with sexual anarchy. That doesn't mean I hate homosexuals. It doesn't mean that I want anybody to be thrown in jail.
But Uganda is a country where local newspapers out purported homos, and where those who dare to come out of the closet are so scared they have to hold news conferences wearing masks. Did you ever think at any point that perhaps, given the history of this country, that you might be saying things that would have an unpleasant outcome?
Do you think that these people did not already have an opinion against homosexuality, a strong opinion? It's incredibly racist. It's the colonial mindset all over again.
An argument echoed by the main proponents of the bill in Uganda.
It's offensive to me. It's offensive to me that every time a black man does something good, you have to say that a white man told us to do it. That's really offensive to me.
But the outrage in the West may mean that the bill gets either watered down or killed.
Homosexual, no.
The Ugandan parliament will be holding hearings on it later this month. As for Scott Lively, he says if they drop the death penalty, he will actually endorse the bill. These
are good Christians, they're better Christians in Uganda than there are here in this country. They care about each other. And the reason that this law is in place, the reason that I think that they're pushing so hard on this is that they don't want to see happen to their country what's happened over here.
For Nightline, this is Dan Harris in Kampala, Uganda.